Dawn spills across the savanna, warming a landscape where every creature wakes with unfinished business. From a dead acacia branch, a small bird studies the grasslands, as though inspecting a vast breakfast table. This is the red-billed oxpecker, compact, sharp-eyed, and unusually comfortable standing on animals much larger than itself. Its feet are built for gripping hide. Its stiff tail provides balance, and its bill is a but breakfast does not wait politely. It walks, runs, rolls in mud, and occasionally objects to being pecked. The oxpecker launches into the morning, searching for a host carrying enough passengers to make the journey worthwhile. Below, a lone warthog emerges from the grass, already dusty, irritable, and very much occupied. Around his ears and shoulders, swollen ticks cling tightly beneath folds of coarse skin. The warthog can scratch against trees and wallow in mud, but some places remain stubbornly beyond reach. He rubs his flank against a rough trunk. It brings relief, but only where the bark can reach. The oxpecker notices every twitch, every irritated shake, and every dark speck hidden against the gray hide.
With a subtle shift, the bird prepares, locking its gaze on the shoulder before making the final leap of faith onto the warthog's back.
One careful circle confirms the landing zone. The warthog appears annoyed, but not alarmed. The oxpecker touches down between the shoulders, claws locking into the coarse bristles as the host continues walking. Balance comes first. A moving warthog is less a perch than a small, unpredictable landscape. The bird begins its inspection, stepping sideways along the spine and probing beneath the raised mane. A swollen tick disappears with one precise snap of the red bill. Then another follows. For the oxpecker, each parasite is a rich parcel of blood and protein. Pauses. His ears relax slightly, an understated review from a customer famous for poor manners. The bird reaches the neck where warm skin and deep folds shelter an especially stubborn concentration of ticks. It leans almost upside down, held by claws that seem far too small for such confident work. Not every peck is welcome. The warthog flinches sharply and sends his passenger scrambling for balance. The oxpecker freezes, reading the warning. Even a helpful visitor should remember the size of its host. After a brief truce, the bird moves toward the ear, where parasites hide beneath the long fringe of hair. The warthog lowers his head, granting access, or simply surrendering to the persistent little specialist. A second oxpecker arrives, drawn by movement and the possibility of an easy meal. For a moment, cooperation becomes competition, with both birds edging toward the richest feeding patch. A quick flutter settles the dispute. There is enough work here for two, provided neither becomes greedy. Then, both birds stop. Their heads rise together and the casual rhythm of feeding vanishes. Beyond the grass, a lioness moves low and slowly, using every shadow the dry landscape provides. The warthog sees almost nothing, but the oxpeckers command a higher view. A sharp alarm call breaks the silence, turning two small birds into an airborne early warning system. The warthog reacts at once, spinning with surprising speed and raising his tail like a flag. He charges toward an abandoned burrow, while the lioness abandons stealth and accelerates. The warthog dives backward into the tunnel, tusks facing outward. The lioness stops beyond their reach. The oxpeckers escape into the trees, their breakfast interrupted, but their host still alive. Survival, however, is only part of their day. The breeding season has given the pair another responsibility. Inside a narrow tree cavity, lies a nest lined with dry grass and softer material gathered. 3 pale eggs rest in the darkness, hidden from the heat and many of the savanna's hungry eyes. One parent settles over them, while the other returns to the grazing herds in search of food. Days pass in alternating shifts of incubation, feeding vigilance, and hurried flights across the plain. Shell trembles. A tiny bill breaks through, opening the next chapter with considerable effort and very little dignity. The hatchlings are blind, nearly naked, and entirely dependent on parents whose meals must now be shared. And insects gathered from large mammals are carried back to the cavity in relentless deliveries. The chicks grow rapidly, replacing bare skin with brown feathers and silence with demanding calls. Outside, the dry season tightens its grip, and reliable hosts become increasingly valuable. The familiar warthog returns to the waterhole leaner now, with fresh ticks hidden beneath his mane. The adult oxpeckers resume their work collecting food while keeping watch over the open ground. A young oxpecker waits at the nest entrance, facing a first flight that cannot be practiced indoors. It drops alarmingly, then catches the air just before the ground settles the matter. The juvenile follows its parents toward the warthog and attempts its first landing on a moving back. The arrival is clumsy, the grip uncertain, but soon the young bird finds both balance and its first tick. Across the savanna, the partnership continues, unequal, imperfect, and remarkably useful whenever danger crawls beneath